What's up, Wolverine? So we're happy to join you. My name's Alfredo Diaz,
My name's Jose Zaraluki.
and this is the first annual Wolverine run. Today we have the middle school competing, so sixth, seventh, and eighth graders of both blue and gold are going to be competing today, and we're making history with the first one ever.
Yeah, I'm glad to be part of this event as it'll be really interesting to see because students will be able to showcase their athletic abilities, and this event will probably be really interesting because it involves bragging rights between the students and all their friends, and yeah, this is a really cool event to
And
have.
absolutely, I think that we have two races going on today. We have the race to finish first, and we have the race to not finish last because it's obviously going to be dreaded. And I think that the older grades actually have a little bit of an advantage, especially on some of the events such as kicking a field goal, in which maybe the sixth graders don't have the power that the eighth graders do.
Yeah, I mean, the eighth graders are obviously older, so they have stronger athletic abilities. And yeah, that'll definitely be an advantage that I'm sure the upperclassmen of the middle school will be using.
Yeah, I mean, we have a lot of different activities in that sense. We have the rowing of 30 calories. Maybe the older kids are going to be better. But we have a lot of activities that are finesse-based, too. The putt could be won by a sixth grader, and I wouldn't be surprised. Moving an Oreo from your forehead to your mouth is actually incredibly difficult. I've tried it myself. I've failed more times than I was able to, actually complete it. And I think that some of the younger kids could surprise us today.
Yeah, and that's why they implemented those events because it gives the younger kids more of a chance to win. As it would be really unfair if you just had, strength-based activities. The eighth graders and seventh graders would dominate the sixth graders.
Yeah, definitely the fact that it's not all sprinting based or strength based, the fact that the sixth graders and seventh graders can actually compete. And again, I think that there's two races going on today, and bragging rights will definitely be involved because being able to beat your friend who's blue and you're gold is something impressive, something to be seen.
Yeah, and you'll have that edge over your friend. You beat them in this event, and you'll be able to say that to him for the next year because this is only a once in a year event. And yeah, I'm really interested to see what happens today.
Yeah, and definitely seeing middle school is almost like the trial run. We're going to be able to see the middle school kids go first. Again, 19 different activities, 13 different stations. We're going to have guys at each station reporting live, showing us exactly what's going on. We're going to try to follow the race as best as we can, try to show you guys the winners, but also a little bit of how the race is going and whether people are getting passed in certain activities.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this event, and yeah, let's see how this will go. It's its first year, and yeah, I'm sure it'll be fun.
Should be a good one. In front of you guys here, you're going to be able to see the free throw competition in which kids need to sink a free throw in order to, get ahead for their team. Holster, what do you think the key is for the free throw competition in trying to go quickly?
The player needs to stay focused. He can't get distracted with trying to rush a shot up, obviously, because that'll probably end up resulting in a miss. So he just needs to stay focused, and obviously you don't want to take too long taking the shot, but yeah, stay efficient and just try your best to make the shot.
Absolutely, and the fact that there's 3 shots that need to be made is actually going to up the factor because an unlucky bounce can end up losing you the competition. The difference could end up being seconds. Definitely the fact that you're going for a clean free throw shot, because if you hit off the side of the rim and it goes into the net there, you're going to have an issue.
Yeah, if it hits the back of the iron, imagine it's your first shot, or if it's your last shot of the event, you're trying to get out of there as quick as possible, and you hit the back iron of the rim, and it just bounces like 15 feet away from you, and that's really damaging to the success you're trying to find in that event.
Yeah, I mean, the rebounders are going to play a big part here, and definitely also the order in which kids get there, because obviously if you have a leg up on the competition, your teammate's able to run and tie the bandana onto you quicker. You're the one that can shoot first out of everyone else. It's definitely beneficial to be able to get there first and take your sweet time shooting your free throw.
Yeah, and I'm sure the kids participating in the event are probably planning that out right now, trying to figure out how they'll do this as fast as possible.
Yeah, and now we're seeing the tie-a-tie competition. We see all the kids are lined up with the pink Belen tie. Obviously, we're still in the month of October, so we're still spreading breast cancer awareness. What's the key to tying the tie as fast as you can?
That's another one. You can't. I mean, I feel like it's almost the same for most of the events, especially like a free throw or like tying a tie. I mean, if it's routine for somebody, because sometimes kids don't really know how to tie a tie at a young age, but that could be an advantage. Like if it's an older kid and he knows how to tie the tie because he does it every day, and he's going up against a 6th grader who maybe has his parents do it for him. I mean, that could be a disadvantage. So these kids, they really need to know.
And here's the key for the 6th graders that I think can actually give them a secret advantage. The tie needs to go past your belt. And obviously for the 6th graders who are smaller, the tie doesn't need to be as perfectly tied, so they can go faster and not have to worry about the final product as much because it's difficult for them to not tie it past their belt.
Yeah.
Definitely it's a mix between finesse and strength, so you want to go as fast as you can while still doing it effectively. You want to shoot as fast as you can while still being able to, make them and being able to get the board and make it again. Now we're looking at the library. Live in the library, we have the math contest. This is going to be the first activity. We are live. It's going to be a series of problems and riddles. We're told that it's going to be multiplication tables. Trying to get out there as fast as you can without making the crucial mistake.
Yeah, and this is when that tutoring you took when you were younger, that's when this comes into play. I mean, you do math problems every day. I mean, just got to really stay focused.
Yeah, kids often complain that they're not going to use math in real life, and well, we're proving them wrong right here, aren't we? Because timetables right here can be the difference between you winning the competition or setting your team behind.
Yeah, and I remember doing timetables throughout elementary school. I particularly enjoyed it because it was really fast and pretty fun to do.
We have a couple kids who are signaling that they're finished. They're getting checked right now by Ms. Delgado and other math teachers. We have not had someone leave the library yet. Oh, and here goes a member of the blue team who is now tying the bandana on, which is another factor that we haven't talked about enough that might be crucial, the fact that you have to tie the bandana on to every single person before they can start their activity.
Yeah, I would say that's one of the most important parts of this contest, the exchange of the bandana. That's something that you should definitely look out for.
We see the kids now tying the tie frantically. Blue team has now done one and they've completed. They're now running off to the next activity. The next activity is in the central patio. It's going to be a 25-piece puzzle. Everyone's now there either tying the tie or in the central patio. And we have people checking the length of the ties now.
Yeah, it seems really competitive so far. Pretty exciting to watch.
Everyone's neck and neck. We have a couple blue teams that are lagging behind. But there we go. Now we're now 1-1 left over. We're now moving to the central patio in which the puzzle is going to be the first activity.
Let's see what we have in store for us here.
Yeah, the 25-piece puzzle, which is actually important for us to clarify, it's going to be two people completing the 25-piece puzzle. So there's definitely strategy involved in being able to complete it with your partner. Two people who are not in sync could set their team behind.
Yeah.
Also in the central patio, we're going to have the putt-putt. We have them sinking a couple of shots now. We have the gold team waiting.
That's one of the events that you mentioned before that there's really no advantage when it comes to age, but it's just it's almost pure luck. Like if you just happen to be good at it.
Yeah, and I was actually trying before we came up here and got ready. I was trying to make it with those putters that they have, and it was quite difficult. They have it made out of PVC pipe, and it didn't. The ball wasn't carrying that well on the course, so I can see that might be an activity that takes a couple attempts. After that, we're gonna have eating a piece of chess again, eating a chess piece against Dr. Newborn. Dr. Goodall, which is another difficult one, but it should be able to be achieved in 3 moves if the chess player knows what they're doing.
And I think one of the blue members just finished the puzzle and moved on to the next event, which is the putt-putt.
The putt-putt, again, is one that's going to be challenging. And it looks like blue is running onto the chess piece now. That's Mr. Cruz, just 6th grade blue. 6th grade blue. Now we have the chess eating a piece from Dr. Goodall's board. It's going to be Simon Patmore. Let's see how he does. He should be able to get it done in 3 moves if he knows what he's doing.
The blue team right now looks to have the clear advantage over the other team.
And here's another key. There's only one Dr. Goodall. So the fact that they have to be playing a game of chess with him, the later that you get there, the more time it's going to end up taking. You could be set behind even more. A 2-second difference can end up with the team in front of you gaining 15 seconds of an advantage.
Yeah, and Goodall is the chess team coach, so it'll probably be difficult to go up against him.
Not only is he the chess team coach, but he's also a nationally ranked player. We see him playing 3 games right now, and the blue team looks to be in a clear advantage. They have 2 of their teams already up. The gold teams are still completing the puzzles. As of now, they're behind, but there's plenty of time for them to make it up.
Yeah, still a lot of time left in this event. I mean, the blue started off with a quick start, but, I mean, the gold can end up coming back.
Absolutely, and we see now Goodall is currently playing against 3 different blue players. He's now going to make the first move against a gold player.
This can almost be mind-boggling for Dr. Goodall because he's going up against like 6 players right now. So
He is quite literally playing 6 games at once, and he's just trying to play keep away at this point. He's not looking to win or to take the opposing queen, but simply to stay alive.
And yeah, that'll just delay the teams even more.
And we still have some teams left on the puzzle. It looks to be 8th grade blue, as well as Miss Mackle's 6th grade gold. And they are struggling. 7th grade blue actually just made the run, now going to the putt-putt. They're still behind, but they have plenty of time to close the gap.
A lot of competitiveness so far when it comes to the chess matches.
Oh, and Dr. Goodall's piece is finally eaten for the first time. A blue team is going to be the first one to advance, and they are now running to the 6th activity, which is going to be moving an Oreo from your head to your mouth, which again we were talking about before is incredibly difficult.
Yeah, this certainly will be fun to watch. Still a few teams dealing with Mr. Goodall with the chess.
And now we see a couple teams moving into the cafeteria where they are trying to currently get an Oreo from their head to their mouth. We are seeing now the first tie-on. It looks to be 7th grade blue currently in the lead. And blue, the second blue team is now up. Blue shows a clear advantage currently as the students are trying as hard as they can to move the Oreo down. We have a student on the edge who's getting close, and he moved it on his first attempt. I could not have been able to do that because when I was trying, I was failing miserably. The Oreo kept falling onto the floor. Blue now has a 2-0 advantage, while yellow has their first team moving on to the Oreo eating.
See some kids really struggling trying to get that Oreo.
Absolutely, and we see now that every single team is attempting the Oreo eating. Next, after the Oreo eating, we're going to move on to the saltine crackers. Eating 5 saltine crackers, which again is something that sounds simple, but Your throat gets incredibly dry and it's tough to eat once the fourth and fifth one come around. The good news is they're going to have 2 people for that activity, so it should only take about 20 or 30 seconds or so, but it doesn't mean it's not going to be difficult for those who are actually participating.
And I'm not sure if that's a gold or blue team. It is the blue team that just finished eating the Oreo, and they will advance.
Yeah, they currently have a
7th grade.
3-1 lead as 2 of the yellow teams are struggling to eat the Oreo. It looks like yellow, gold, 7th and 8th grade, the older kids who we would expect to be in the lead, while blue is running away with this title.
Yeah, gold falling into a large deficit here. Let's see if they can make a comeback. That certainly will be surprising.
The good news for gold is that they don't all need to finish first, second, and third. As long as the gold team finishes first, they have a chance of staying in it and gaining a lot of points for their team, and also, continually allowing kids in other grades to be able to brag about gold, because at the end of the day, you're playing for your team as a whole.
Yeah, and I think, the gold team is still struggling with the Oreo cookie right now.
Currently, we also have some students who have already eaten the 5 saltine crackers who are currently chewing the bubble gum, blowing 3 bubbles, which is another one that should be relatively easily finished. After that, we have the minute to win it in the Arroyo quad, which again should take roughly a minute. So that's one that shaving off a couple seconds can really help you in the end.
Yeah, and here with the Oreo, I think one of the teams advanced. I think it was 8th grade gold that moved on.
We still have 7th grade gold struggling to get the Oreo into his mouth, and he finally did it. He's able to move now.
Next will be the saltine crackers.
We can see them in the Arroyo quad starting to eat the saltine crackers. They're tying the bandana on now to attempt. And 7th grade gold drops the Oreo again. They are being set way behind. Here we go, the minute to win it, moving the cups. Blue is so clearly in front. And again, the third blue team, now 6th grade blue, has finally advanced. 8th grade blue is now tying on. And the minute to win it has fully begun. And it almost looks like it's a race between 6th, 7th, and 8th grade blue.
Yeah, the blue team has been really good so far compared to the gold team, who's really struggled in that Oreo eating contest. I mean, they're still struggling there.
And it could be that the blue team was able to pick with more strategy. Me and you were obviously team blue, so we know who we're rooting for. But we'll see at the end by station 19. We'll see who's in the lead.
Yeah, go blue forever.
The minute to win it's currently ongoing. We have 4 refs in the area ensuring that kids are only going 1 cup at a time. And the first blue team finishes, he's going to go now pass it on to his teammate who needs to row 30 calories on the machine. Another one that maybe the older kids have an advantage, and definitely the crew kids will have an advantage.
Yeah, I mean, if you have a crew kid and he's one of the older kids in the middle school, you're probably going to end up winning this event.
Yeah, and blue now has 2 teams that are competing in the rowing 30 calories, while yellow or gold are still competing in the minute to win it cup stacking. Definitely with the experience, blue just finished their 30 calorie, and 8th grade blue is now running to try to pass on the bandana to the next person.
Yeah, blue continues their success as they'll end up moving on to the cornhole now.
Yeah, next we have the cornhole in the Arroyo quad, which, again, that was another one that I was able to try out before, and it was deceivingly difficult because the actual backdrop for the cornhole wasn't wooden like it normally is. It was plastic and almost was like a bungee jump, so once the actual sack hits the bag, it almost bounces off instead of slides through.
And I think blue just pretty much switched that one. It made no contact with the board. It just went in.
Almost on the first try, and that's the easiest way to go. We see a couple of blue bouncing off. He's gathering the sacks and going back. Blue is now running to the bucket water squeeze in the aquatic center, in which they need to squeeze water into the bucket with a towel. This is one that speed is you need to be as quick as possible and essentially try to gather as much water as you can in the towel.
See, gold's still really far back from the blue team.
When we see the aquatic center now, as the students are currently ongoing in the bucket squeeze, right after the bucket squeeze, they're going to be tying the bandana and swimming 50 meters, which is the lengthwise of an Olympic-sized swimming pool. Another thing that is incredibly difficult to do, something that I would not be able to do as fast as some of these 6th, 7th, and 8th graders are going to.
I think that's 7th grade blue right now with the water squeeze.
They're currently passing the bandana on. They just finished, the first team to do so. Now they're actually passing on to yellow. 7th grade yellow is the first of the yellow teams to advance, and they're jumping into the pool. It's blue with an obvious and early lead. No one else is even in the pool yet. And here's another challenge. The bandana for the rest of the competition is going to be wet. Is that going to restrict the passing of it or make it take a little bit more time?
Yeah, I think maybe now, since it's a little heavier, it'll probably make it harder to tie it together onto somebody's arm. And the exchange, yeah, something to look out for. We said that at the beginning, and so far no mistakes have happened with the exchange yet, but maybe it happens in one of the upcoming events.
Yeah, and we've seen some exchanges cleaner than others, but none that are necessarily terrible. Blue has a runaway lead. Nobody else has jumped into the pool, and as I say this, we have another blue team just jumped into the pool. The next activity that we're going to see is going to be shaving a balloon that is going to be covered with shaving cream. And there's going to be a penalty if they pop, which means that the gold team could really try to close the gap if the blue team continues to mess up by popping the balloon.
Yeah, I would say this is probably the event that the gold team will have a best chance at of closing that gap when it comes to the time. And they could certainly catch up.
Absolutely, and we see them there under the tent. And it looks difficult. Almost the entire balloon is going to be covered in shaving cream as the second member of the blue team is finishing the race, crossing the pool. We know that blue currently has a sizable lead, but it's not quite over yet. We're only about halfway into our race, and the most time-consuming ones are actually going to be a little bit later in the football field. So gold definitely has a good chance at staying in this race.
And I would say they're still in it. I mean, this event right here, the shaving of the balloon, I'd say this is probably one of the more important events.
Yeah, and we have two gold teams that are still struggling to fill their bag with the water from the towels. This is something that's holding them up, and currently we see the third member of the blue team almost crossing the pool now. Their sizable lead continues to grow. The balloon shaving competition, we see yellow anxiously waiting for their teammates to cross. They don't know anything about what's going on in the competition, so when they see a couple of the members of the blue team coming, they think that their teammates are close behind.
So let's see with the shaving cream. I think some teams are arriving.
Yeah, and some teams actually have been able to move on to the next one, which is the drone race through the hoops, also under the tent. And mind you, we still have teams that are squeezing water into the bucket with a towel, while some kids are in the midst of drone racing. They are almost 4 activities ahead, and it's almost tough to be able to gain on the sizable lead.
Yeah, drone racing has got to be pretty hard. That's something that I can't do. I feel like I would fail miserably at doing that.
And we see the shaving of the balloon close up. This is one that, again, I think maybe the 8th graders who have potentially practiced shaving have a slight advantage on the 6th graders. It's crazy to me that the balloon doesn't pop every time that the blade hits it. Definitely the Belen dull razors might be helping here.
As
the first yellow team, the first gold team is able to advance to the drone racing competition, and the last blue team is struggling to get the extra shaving cream off, almost putting more on the balloon, making his job more and more difficult.
In the gold team, they're starting to close that gap now in the drone racing. One of their teams advancing pretty quickly now.
Yeah, and after the drone racing, we're going straight to the basketball, which is going to be sinking 3 free throws. We don't have a team there yet, but we do have one on the way. The drone racing seems to be challenging. We have a backup of students there. They're remote-controlled drones, and we have students struggling to get them through the rings. What do those rings remind you of? Anything in particular?
Not necessarily. I mean, I've never really raced drones, so.
Oh, it almost looks like a Quidditch match to me, trying to get the drones to the hoops. This is a blue student having some success, and he passed the third ring quite a bit. He's going to need to go around. You can only go through the ring on one end. We're getting a preview now of the gym We have a lot of those flexes, and the students who are not participating are currently hyped, essentially rooting their team on, and we see them jumping around, hoping that their respective color is in the lead.
Yeah, and I'd say the blue team has gotten the fair portion of that excitement, as they seem pretty hyped as one of the drones.
As one of the drones goes down, and we have the first team shooting free throws is going to be one of the blue teams who's lining up now at the line. There seems to be a little bit of difficulty tying the bandana. Free throws is one that you really need to be able to freely shoot, and the bandana could be a little bit restrictive. The first yellow team is now moving on as Gold finally gets through, and he runs up, does not hit the first free throw. Blue is currently up 1-0, 2-0, and Blue is able to move on to the next activity. So the first blue team is now moving on to the football field. The first time that we see that today. It's going to be a 30-yard sprint with 5 different sprinters. It's going to be a time-consuming activity for sure. And let's see if the relay ends up taking time, but the fact that they have to tie their bandana around their teammate each and every time.
And one of the players shooting the free throws, his bandana just flew off of his arm in the midst of his shot.
And that's difficult because it needs to be on at all times. It could potentially lead to a setback for Team Blue.
There's like 15 kids shooting free throws right now.
It seems that way, and the balls hitting against each other is definitely restricting the fact that some kids have to wait a longer time between shots. And we're getting our first view of the football field for the 30 by 30 by 30 by 30 by 30 race. That was a mouthful to say. And we get to see Blue running across the field, tying the bandana onto their teammate, and then proceeding to continue on the relay.
Yeah, and the sprint is one of the key events where specific time matters, and you really hope you have one of the faster runners in your grade participating in this event.
And we finally have all teams moving onto the football field with the last Gold team advancing from the basketball. We see on the football field the teams are running side by side. Blue is still the sizable lead, but Gold is not trailing too far behind.
Yeah, Gold started to close that gap when it came to the drone racing and the free throws. So let's see what they got here.
And of course, after the sprinting, we're gonna have also in the football field, a field goal of 25 yards, which I think is gonna be incredibly difficult for some of the younger kids. We're hoping that the football kicker is on your team, because if not, it's gonna be difficult to do.
Yeah.
Looking now, we have our first attempt, and it's just wide left and a little low. We have some members of student council running to get back as they hold the football again for the second try for the blue team as he squares off.
Here's the kick.
The kick is up, and it's good. It just squeaks by. Blue is able to advance from the first field goal, as we see students in the background, and yellow hits the field goal too. They're neck and neck now. We're looking for the remaining teams to finish the sprints in the background and move on to the field goal attempts, as those who just made it are now going to be parallel parking a children's bicycle in the parking lot.
Yeah, and Gold, almost by a miracle, has made the comeback, and let's see if they can complete it with kind of upsetting this blue team.
We see now as they continue to kick field goals, the kick is up, and it is just good off the inside of the post and bounces in. We just had back-to-back field goals go in, and that was surprisingly easy. It seems as if they kicked it from 15, not 25, which helps the younger students tremendously.
Yeah, and it seems like they're almost practicing that. All of them made it with ease as they move on to the next event.
There were definitely some either kickers or soccer kids who were able to do so. Now we see the students riding the children's bicycle. You see just how small it is. It's almost laughable that we're going to be able to see seniors on these same bicycles tomorrow.
Yeah, that's going to be really fun to watch. I'm really looking forward to that.
And we have the first team blue able to parallel park the bike. Yellow is trying. Blue is now tying the bandana, and they have a mishap, one of the worst that we've seen so far, but they still remain in the lead. Yellow gets the first flag from the ball pit, and yellow is now, for the first time today, in the lead.
Yeah, the bandana exchange, we were mentioning it, and finally it comes into play, and the blue team looks like they just took a lead again.
And as you're saying this, yellow also had an issue with the bandana exchange, as we see the third blue team member parallel parking. Now moving on to the gym, we have the carrying 3 students in wheelbarrow, and this is one that takes strength from the two carriers, but also plenty of upper body strength. As we see a wipeout on Team Blue, they only need to go halfway across the court, and they decided to throw the student midway through to try to conserve time. The yellow team doesn't look like they made it all the way across, but the refs are going to let it slide.
This looks really close right now.
It's incredibly close as all teams are going back and forth, and the blue team continues to throw their students on the ground. Now they need to pass the flag to Mr. D'Angulo as they go. Blue is currently in the lead, and the blue team takes the win in the first ever Wolverine run competition. We have blue storming the court, taking the win.
And the blue team certainly does look excited.
Definitely, as we see some of the faculty members try to usher them off, but the school spirit in the gym right now is off the charts. We see the blue team jumping as high as they can, music playing, and some yellow members are now trying to infiltrate as we see students happy to be wearing the right color. Go blue.
Yeah, I'm on the blue team, so I'm really excited about this win. And good for them. This was really fun to watch, and I'm sure it was even more fun to participate in.
Absolutely, and looking forward to the one that we're going to have tomorrow is going to be the high school, which if we thought this one was crazy, it's going to get even crazier. Instead of having 6 teams in total, we're going to have 8.
Yeah.
And definitely, again, some of the activities that we're looking forward to is seeing some seniors on those little bikes trying to parallel park as best as they can. Now we see in the gym as the students are happy to be the participants in the first ever Wolverine run, something that we hope can be an annual tradition, for years to come.
Yeah, and these middle schoolers made history, especially the blue team winning the first ever day of this event, and good for them.
Yeah, blue took an early lead, and it looked like gold was trying to make a comeback at the end. They weren't able to close the gap, and we still see blue celebrating, waving their arms into the air. We see them doing the Ronaldo celebration in the middle of the gym, and rightfully so, because they were able to build a sizable lead and hold it when it came down to the most important activities.
Yeah, and the blue team takes a dub, and let's see what team will end up winning tomorrow. Certainly will be exciting and intriguing.
It's a completely new race again, all new people. We're going to have more teams. It's definitely going to be interesting to see some of the same activities if we have some trends that continue tomorrow during the high school Wolverine run. As Mr. Jordan's currently addressing, letting know that blue officially wins and the crowd goes crazy.
So I think that's it for the first event. And both teams are getting excited right now. The yellow team and blue team getting riled up by the teachers.
Yeah, this is basically taking place at the pep rally for this homecoming week. And the fact that the students are able to try to get as loud as possible. You see Mr. Jordan trying to hype them up, and he's doing a pretty good job at it.
Yeah, and I'm sure this is fun for Mr. Jordan too. It's his first time doing this event, and yeah, it looks like he's really enjoying it.
Yeah, and let's listen in on what they're hearing in the gym.
Let's try it again. All right, everyone listen up. Give me the beat.
It seems to have almost descended into madness there, with students screaming as loud as we can. It's definitely good to see students giving it their all.
Yeah, so far this homecoming weekend is really fun, and it'll probably just continue.
Eighth grade blue, the official champions. Again, we were expecting the 8th graders to be able to hold the lead, but we saw some of the younger blue teams actually usurp the blue gold for the gold for 8th grade, and that was surprising to me. But maybe we can see the trend continue tomorrow.
Tomorrow the freshmen versus the seniors. Let's see if the freshmen can come out and compete with the seniors.
Absolutely, and the grades in between too. I wouldn't rule out a junior champion. I would really hope that the seniors end up winning, but you never know.
Yeah, you never know with these events. Today the expected outcome ended up happening, but anything can happen in these events.
Absolutely, and we see Mr. Jordan now unwinding as all the students are now in the gym, and they're able to see that their team has finally won. Gold might be a little bit disappointed, but their performance was strong nonetheless. They definitely have nothing to be ashamed of by the fact that they were able to keep it tight and almost win at the end. We saw them almost come back during the wheelbarrow race. They just weren't able to at the end.
So I think that's it for us, and we're going to
Yeah, we're going to wrap it up on the first ever Wolverine run, and we'll catch you guys tomorrow when the high school is able to go. And remember to tune in for our varsity football game and the presentation at the half that's going to show you which team won the week.